Tonight we want to talk about all those now hiring signs that we've seen for months. This labor shortage affects everything from fast food restaurants to manufacturing plants.
The economy has been down millions of workers, but at the same time, the number of people working or looking for a job keeps going down.
So what is really going on? Where did all of these workers go? Our Dustin Grove hit the road looking for answers.
Take a drive through town, any town really, and it doesn't take long.
There's one already, now hiring.
To see the many signs of a major mystery.
There's a construction company hiring all positions. Domino's Pizza hiring all positions.
A real head scratcher. From school cafeterias to auto parts stores, restaurants, pharmacies, car dealerships, offices, you name it, they're hiring. So where did all those workers go?
We're seeing it across the board.
We took that question to Kyle Anderson. He's an economist at the IU Kelley School of Business and studies the labor market.
Why is it so hard to fill jobs right now?
So there's a few things going on.
First, he says employers have fewer people to choose from right now because a lot have just left the workforce and continue to. 4.3 million Americans quit their jobs in December, a month after a record 4.5 million the month before, a trend we've been seeing now for nearly 2 years.
So I think a lot of it just really goes back to the pandemic, and there's a lot of workers who are not comfortable being in the workforce. We know that childcare is a big issue for a lot of households.
Oh, they're falling over.
Michaela Wiley knows all about that.
It's hard to find childcare. It's hard to find jobs that pay what you're worth now, especially with all of the inflation.
She lost her job as an account manager during the pandemic, but she and her fiance decided rather than look for something else, she'd stay home with daughter Madeline and son Everett, who was about to be born.
Well, I've always worked. I've worked since I turned 16. And so the concept of staying home didn't really sit well with me at first. But when we looked at what was happening around us, and I looked at my kids and my soon-to-be here kid, you do the blue line. It made more sense to stay home. No.
And parents and caregivers aren't the only ones quitting their jobs.
We've also seen a lot of early retirements. People realized when the pandemic hit, hey, I was maybe getting ready to retire, and we can do it. And I'm not going back to the workforce the way it is.
About 3.2 million people retired when the pandemic hit. That's more than double the number who retired the year before. But most of those people weren't working fast food jobs, so where did all those minimum wage workers go?
That's an area where there are a lot of workers missing, and part of it, I think, is people used to work 2 jobs, and now as wages go up, hey, maybe I only need to work 1.
You want to get the other bowling pins? Go grab them.
For Michaela Wiley, it will be no job. She does plan to return to the workforce eventually, but for now, she's clocking in for her kids.
It's expensive to work and it's expensive to not work, and you got to kind of choose your battles. And if it's the same, then I'd rather stay home with my kids.
Wow, she said a mouthful right there.
She did.
To work and to not work. I mean, the cost of childcare is like the cost of rent these days.
You bet it is.
It's just a whole big mess. We've been talking about it all evening. It just seems like a whole mess coming together at
I think
once.
one of the places I see it are when you go into a restaurant. It takes a little longer to get your food, a little longer to get a table, even if there are tables out there. A lot of restaurants just don't have the workers like they used to.
Yeah, well, our hearts go out to those small business owners for sure. We heard a lot of questions about whether the pandemic unemployment benefits play any role in this.
Yeah, Dustin also took a look into that issue, and what he learned is online in his story. Just go to WTHR.com/13investigates.